Have you ever grabbed a can of soup from the shelf, thinking it would warm you up like a cozy hug on a cold day, only to pour it out and feel let down by the taste? You know that moment when you expect rich flavors and tender bites, but end up with something thin and salty that barely hits the spot? Well, that got me thinking about all the canned soups out there. Some have been around for years, sitting in pantries like old reliable friends. But when you really look closer, not all of them live up to the promise on the label. Today, we're going to talk about the ones you might want to skip next time you're at the store, and the couple that actually deliver on that homemade feel. But first, let's step back a bit and think about why canned soup became such a big deal in the first place. Back in the day, before refrigerators were in every home, people needed ways to keep food ready without it going bad. That's when companies started putting soups in cans, making it easy to have a quick meal anytime. It was a game changer for busy families, sick days, or just lazy evenings. Brands like Campbell's popped up with their bright labels, and soon everyone had a can or two stashed away. The ads showed steaming bowls that looked perfect, full of chunks and colors that made your mouth water. Over time, though, as more options hit the shelves, we started noticing differences. Some soups taste fresh and full, while others seem like they cut corners on ingredients. And with prices ranging from cheap to a bit more, it's worth knowing which ones are worth your money. So, as we go through this, I'll share the details on what makes some of these soups fall short, based on real tastes and common complaints, and highlight the ones that stand out for good reasons. Let's start with one that's been a classic for so long, but often leaves you wanting more. Take Campbell's chicken noodle soup, for example. This one has been around forever, with that familiar red and white can staring back at you from the store aisle. Remember those TV spots where a kid comes home sick and mom heats up a bowl that looks like pure comfort? The steam rising, the golden liquid swirling with thick noodles and big pieces of chicken, it all seems so inviting. But then you try it yourself. You pop open the can, heat it on the stove, and take that first sip. Instead of a warm, hearty broth, it's often just thin and watery, like someone added too much water to a weak mix. The salt hits hard, but there's no real depth, no sense of slow-cooked chicken flavor that makes you feel better. It's more like flavored liquid than the real deal you'd get from boiling bones and veggies at home. And the noodles. They promise to be soft and satisfying, but they usually turn out limp and mushy, sticking together in a way that reminds you of overdone pasta. From a school lunch, you stir the bowl, hoping for better, but they just fall apart more. Now, about the chicken bits, they're small and pale, not juicy or tender like you'd hope. Sometimes they're dry, other times stringy, making each bite feel like a chore rather than a treat. Sure, it's quick and costs just a few bucks, which is why it sells so well. Many people buy it for the memories, like when Grandma served it with crackers on a rainy day. That emotional pull is strong, and it keeps the can in rotation. But if you set aside those old feelings and judge it fresh, you might see it's more about the brand than the taste. You could add your own extras, like fresh herbs or real chicken, to fix it up. But then why not start from scratch? In the end, it's handy, but your meals deserve something that excites your taste buds without all the work. So, what about you do? You reach for this one out of habit, or have you found better choices? Now, shifting over to something that sounds like a treat from the coast, but often misses the mark. Progresso clam chowder aims to bring that New England vibe right to your kitchen, with thoughts of creamy bowls full of potatoes and fresh clams. You picture sitting by the sea, spooning up something thick and briny, maybe with a side of bread. The can makes big claims about being hearty, so you give it a shot. But once it's heated and in your bowl, the reality sets in. The clams, which should be the highlight, come out tiny and rubbery, like chewing on something that's been processed too much. They lack that fresh ocean taste, coming across metallic and worn out instead. It's disappointing because good chowder relies on those clams to shine. Then there's the broth. It's thick, all right, but in a sticky, pasty way that feels off. Not smooth and creamy like it should be, but more like a mix that's heavy on starch. A few bites in, and it coats your mouth, making you thirsty rather than content. The potatoes don't help much either. They're meant to add heartiness, but they often break down into grainy bits or stay too soft, not holding up well. Overall, it feels heavy without the joy, like eating something filling but forgettable. Progresso positions this as a solid pick, but it doesn't capture that seaside essence. It's easy to heat up, sure, and saves time on busy nights, but with the flavor so flat, you wonder if it's worth it. Better versions exist, even from simple homemade recipes with milk and real clams. This one just settles for okay when it could be great. Have you found a canned chowder that really brings back beach memories, or do they all fall short? Moving along, there's another one that's everywhere, but shines more in recipes than as a meal. Campbell's cream of mushroom soup has earned its spot in kitchens as a go-to for casseroles and sauces. Think about holiday green beans or slow-cooked chickenets, the glue that holds things together, adding creaminess without much fuss. But try eating it straight as soup, and the story changes. You open the can, and out comes this thick, jelly-like stuff that doesn't flow easily. It's gloopy, sticking to everything in a way that's not appealing. Instead of a silky texture, it's heavy and sticky, leaving a film after each spoonful. The mushrooms are small and rubbery, missing that deep, earthy punch you'd get from fresh ones cooked in butter. They add some chew, but not the good kind, more flat and can-tasting. The overall flavor leans salty with just a hint of mushroom buried under it all. No real balance or layers, just one basic note that gets old fast. That's why it works best mixed in dishes where other ingredients cover its weaknesses. Families keep buying it for those uses, and it's cheap, making it a staple. But alone in a bowl, it's like a supporting player trying to lead. It doesn't quite work. You could spend a little time making your own with real mushrooms and cream, and it'd taste worlds better. This soup shows how some things are better as helpers than stars. Do you use this one just for cooking, or have you tried it as soup and liked it? Let's keep going with a soup that sounds fun, but often feels like a letdown. Chef Boyardee pasta and meatball soup pitches itself as a hearty, Italian-style option, perfect for a quick dinner. You might think of warm pasta nights, with meatballs adding that meaty kick. The name brings back kid memories for some, like easy lunches from the pantry. But pour it out, and it's not what you hoped. The pasta comes limp and soft, breaking down into mush as it sits. No firm bite, just filler that blends in too much. The meatballs are tiny and spongy, not savory or herby-like real ones. They soak up the broth but stay chewy in a bad way, tasting more processed than fresh. And the broth, it's thin and sweet, like diluted tomato with extra sugar, lacking depth or proper seasoning. Kids might not mind, and the low price keeps it around, but as you get older, it doesn't hold up. Better to make simple pasta at home for that real comfort. Did this one make you smile as a child? And does it still taste okay now? Staying on the classics, Campbell's tomato soup is hard to miss, with its bright can and long history. It's often linked to grilled cheese, dipping that crispy sandwich into a warm bowl on a chilly afternoon. The ads make it seem wholesome, like pure tomato goodness. But on its own, it's often thin and watery, more like juice than soup. The flavor hits sweet and tangy, but in a way that's too much like watered-down ketchup without the savory balance. From herbs or garlic. It needs that sandwich to really work, adding the crunch and butter it lacks. Memories keep people buying, maybe from school lunches or home remedies. It's affordable and quick, but without extras, it doesn't stand alone. Homemade with fresh tomatoes beats it icily. Do you enjoy this soup by itself or only with something else? Next, consider Progresso vegetable soup, which promises a garden mix in every can. Veggies like carrots, peas, and beans should bring color and freshness to a light broth, but often they come out overcooked and mushy, losing their snap and blending. Together, the carrots go limp, peas turn soft, and everything feels tired. The broth adds to the issue, tasting mostly salty without much veggie depth, leaving you thirsty. It's filling in volume, but not in flavor, more like salted water with bits. Progresso aims higher than some brands, but this one doesn't deliver. Quick to prepare, yes, but fresh veggies boiled at home would taste so much better with little effort. Can canned veggies ever feel crisp, or do they always soften too much? Then there's Campbell's split pea with ham, aiming for that thick, warming feel on cold days. Good versions are smooth and hearty, with peas and smoky ham working together. But this can often looks dull green, like pureed mush. The texture is pasty and heavy, clinging in an unpleasant way. peas taste salty more than sweet, and the ham bits are tiny, chewy, and overpowering with sodium. It's thick but sludgy, not balanced. Nostalgia might defend it for quick meals, but compared to homemade, it's weak. Affordable, but flavor suffers. Does canned split pea match homemade, or is fresh always better? On a better note, Amy's organic lentil soup shows how canned can be done right. It pours out rich, with lentils that stay tender yet firm, mixed with carrots, celery, and onions that taste real. The broth has depth, earthy, and balanced, not too salty. Herbs lift it, making each bite satisfying. Organic ingredients add appeal, and it's hearty without heaviness. A bit pricier, but worth it for the homemade vibe. Have you given Amy's a try, and does it feel close to home-cooked? Finally, Progresso minestrone brings variety with pasta, beans, and veggies in a tomato broth. Veggies hold texture carrots, sweet beans, hearty zucchini fresh. Pasta adds bite, not mush. The broth is tangy and savory, making it filling like a meal. Salt's there, but not overwhelming. Mid-price, it delivers value. Not perfect, but reliable. Is minestrone a starter for you, or a full dish? So, wrapping this up, we've covered the soups to watch out for and the two that really shine. Next time, at the store, think about what you want, quick but bland, or something tastier. If this helped, give it a like and subscribe for more tips. Thanks for watching.